Hey guys, this is Brandon. I'm the CEO of BrandResumes.com. We are a career advancement and resume writing service that focuses on entry-level graduates, mid-career professionals, and executives across all industries. Today, I want to speak to you about some of the really cool and tangible tips for finding and landing a job your senior year of college. So sometimes people feel like it's a black box, it's a huge mystery. You don't know where to start, you're lost, you know that you're graduating soon. And I just want to be able to help to demystify this, give you some really, cool and tangible tips that you can start today that you might start to see some more traction, right? So why me? Why am I talking to you? Why am I not calling my friends down the street or my colleagues? Well, I have been helping professionals just like you and college students for over 5 years now. I've been, on the corporate scale, I've been in the startup scene, and I just want to give you all this knowledge and education for free because I really want to help you succeed. So today we're going to jump into 4 tips that I feel like will help you. And by the end of this video, if you are, implementing these tricks and tips, and you're really, studying and really starting and preparing yourself for this job search, you will start to see some more interviews. So let's get right into it. So now I'm gonna deep dive into the 4 tips, and by the end of these 4 tips, you should have some tangible metrics and actionable items that you can go ahead and use to better your search. Right now, this is applicable if you are in the accounting field, if you're in the medical field, even if you're like aerospace engineer, it doesn't matter. These tips can work for you. If you implement some of these tips, hopefully you might start to see some more traction, maybe some success in your job search. And ideally, we'd want all of our listeners and viewers like you to be able to land your next job. So tip number 1, and it's really simple and an actionable step, is that you can start early, right? You know that you'll be going into your senior year, and if you're already in your senior year, that's completely fine. I want to let you know that a lot of times companies will hire their talent sometimes 8 to 10 months in advance. And it's not to say that, not every company follows the same path, because, certain times that there are, hiring trends, right? So, you may not fall into that. But if you start early, right, just doing some of that core research, spending some time, researching maybe some of the top companies that you'd like to work for, narrowing down, a company's purpose, their values, their mission statement, filling and finding the information that resonates with you, that makes all the difference, right? Because if you think about the term of a search, right, it's like it's a journey, it's a mission, it's finding that next step, and we want you to be able to jump into that search with the right preparation. If you've ever heard of practice means preparation, it's very true, right? So start early, get in there, do your homework, do your research, figure out the companies that resonate with you. And while you're doing this research, if you even want to go ahead and create like a spreadsheet or just a Google Doc and just list out some of the key benefits, like, I'd like to work at Nike because Nike believes in, humans' rights, and they are, a huge advocacy, and Nike advocates heavily for, gender equality, right? Figure that out. So that when you are interviewing down the line, and if you do land some of these interviews, you can relate that back to why you'd like to work for that company. Tip number 2, I would say find conferences and job fairs in your field. I can't stress this enough, but it doesn't matter what you'd like to be. This works really well for some folks, and it might be a little harder for others depending on how granular and niche your career is. But let's say, for example, you want to be an accountant. I would say do a Google search, find all of the accounting career fairs, accounting conferences that may be near you. And sometimes you may have to travel, right? So you may need to travel to a metro location, or you may have to carpool with some friends. But do the research, figure out what they are. There's all these companies like Eventbrite. There are national career services that actually have representation sometimes from some of the top companies like Home Depot, Nike, Amazon. So do the research, they're out there. I would also say, in reference, that check out any university's calendars. So your university, I'm sure, does career fairs, sometimes virtual, sometimes in person. But what you can also do, and there's a little bit of a secret trick, is to find the colleges near you, and it may be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but figure out when they have career fairs too and show up, right? Come there with professional attire, with your resume, with a portfolio, and just be hungry to network. No one's gonna shoot down ambition and hustle, right? So that's kind of a kind of like a tip that a lot of people don't know about, but it works, right? And I would also say, just overall, like, be prepared to face the unknown, because sometimes you kind of get thrown into those conversations, but just do your homework, find the conferences, and show up. Showing up is half of the battle. Tip number 3, get your resume in shape. There's no way you can show up to these conferences or start your job search if you don't have a good resume. And a resume is really important because it's really the first step that these recruiters or hiring managers will see you. You want them to quickly understand who you are, what value you bring to the table, what you've studied, and just simple things like that. Make sure that your resume format is modern, it's up to date, it has all the relevant things, right? You don't want any photos on your resume or pictures of your dog. Keep that for Instagram or Snapchat. But in all seriousness, make sure that you have a beautiful formatted resume. If you're in college, I was just having a one-page resume, and sometimes you just want to brag about all the things that you're good at, and I completely understand. I've been there. I've helped clients in the same capacity. But keep it clean, keep it concise, and stick to the things that you can do that will actually add value. Because sometimes you have to think about it in terms of a hiring manager. Like, if I'm hiring for a medical assistant, I want to know, what have you done in your coursework that will relate well to this job? So just a quick tip, make sure that it aligns to the role and it's up to date. And lastly, tip number 4, I would say network like crazy. And this is kind of like the thing that I love the most. Like, I'm a huge networker. I'm all for, going out and speaking to people, making appearances, and just showing up. You just can never discount the benefit of just being present. It's amazing. And so when I say network like crazy, start telling everybody what you want to do. I mean, whether it's your mother, your grandmother, your colleague, your professor, the guy you see in the street, put it out into the universe. You never know what the universe will give back to you. If people don't know what you're looking for, how can they help you, right? So just get really crisp at, even crafting, just like even like a quick elevator pitch, like 10, 20 seconds, like why you might, why you love this, and just why you feel like this is where you would like to be, and start telling everybody, right? In addition to that, just get really comfortable with shaking hands, having professional posture, obviously eye contact, because you will, as you start, putting all these tips into effect, you might start getting more traction, right? You might start getting some interviews, you might get some calls back, which would be great. But just network, go hard, learn about all the different things in your industry, research all these different job boards, do the really due diligence, go to Glassdoor.com, catch up on some of the company reviews. There's so many resources out there. But overall, once you just start early and you just find those conferences if possible. I'm sure they exist, and if not, I'll even help you find them. Get your resume in shape. I cannot stress that enough. The resume is very important. And then just network. And with all that combined, you should start to see hopefully some traction in your job search. So that's kind of what I would always recommend, doing if you're in college, and implement those results. You should see some traction quickly. I'd love to know what you think about this video. Leave some questions in the comment section below, and just share other strategies that you may have, right? There's a lot of multifaceted ways of landing jobs. People land jobs by finding someone on the subway and talking about a song and just getting a business card. To get very comfortable being uncomfortable, but just know that there is an end and there's a light in sight. Do those 4 things, and let's check back in. That's BrandResumes approved.